Welcome to Impression After 20 Hours. It's a series where I make an honest review after at least 20 hours of gameplay. Today we're looking at Flotsam. It's a, well, town survival building game-ish kind of thing, made by the indie dev studio Pajama Llama Games. And if you go on the Steam page, you'll see that they introduced the game like this. You manage a floating village community as it moves around the ocean. You recycle garbage and scrap to construct buildings, collect fish, and drinkable water to keep your villagers alive. Well, after playing this game for for almost 30 hours, this is how I would describe the game. So basically, you're in the movie set of the movie Waterworld with Kevin Costner from the 90s. You rescue survivors, build your town, save seagulls from beer plastics, make them fetch you resources, and do your absolute best to survive. And well, as I said, I've tested the game for about 28 hours now, and try to see how far I can push it. And if you're anything like me and you love a chill city survival builder, or as I usually call them, a colony management game, you'd probably enjoy this. I mean, it is kind of in an early state still, and I do find bugs whenever I play it, but it's rarely anything game breaking. So, to the devs themselves, because obviously devs, whoever makes the game changes how the game will last and what kind of playability it will have and so on. But it's easy to see that they love their game. They keep updating it often, adding new features or, well, revamping old features. And what really warms my heart, I want to say, is they responded within hours every time I've reported a bug report, and even asked for the game save so they can recreate and fix any issues, even minor issues, for future patches. And that is, I dare say, refreshing in the current climate of gaming. Obviously it's an indie game studio, so it's not that weird that they care about their game. But let's head into the game. So the first thing we're greeted to is that we're in the development version of Flotsam. Obviously, it's important to know that we have that is an early development version, and this is not the final product. It's gonna evolve quite a bit. Let me lower this volume a little bit. Hang on. Let's do it like this. There we go. Let's go through the options actually. So the options are kind of simple in this game. You have, well, obviously movement sensitivity options, and then graphics quality. Last time I was playing, I had to lower the graphics to very low because I was experiencing a lot of lag after pushing how many villagers you can actually have in this game. And I'm going to change it back to ultra. So audio, basic audio stuff, well, keybinds, good for those who actually care to change them. We'll create a new game and I'll show you what this game is all about. Let's do review. We'll name our town. So when you get into the game, the first thing you'll see is that you have a broken little ship. I'll pause the game for us. You get a bunch of tutorials that you can read. This broken ship needs to be repaired, and in this version of the game, you simply click repair, and one of your guys will go repair it. And obviously you can see the progress right here. But to get started, all we have is some food and some water, so we need to start collecting a few things. Start collecting plastic and wood. So I usually, all the times I've played it, I'm gonna play it super speed, by the way, just to make it a bit quicker. They'll swim and get the things. Later on, when we construct boats, we can send them out with boats instead to collect things. Because right now they're only collecting 5 things each, and swimming back with a boat, they can collect 10 in each boat, and obviously a boat is quicker. Now that we start getting materials, we can start building, so we can make walkways out of wood or plastic. The wood we're collecting is wet, so we need to dry it if we want to use it. As you can see up here, we have 10 wet wood, 0 dry wood. But I'll just make a little pathway out of plastic. That should be enough. And change this to one person only collecting. So we have one person on the little raft ship, whatever you want to call it, at all times, doing things. As soon as these guys constructed this, I'm gonna start placing a little bit of storage. A good tip for playing this game is make a temporary pathway out into a direction like I'm doing here. And as you saw in the footage I recorded previously in the video, I did pretty much the same thing. I made a temporary area with things that I'm gonna deconstruct later, like small storage yards and stuff. And then in the other direction I started building my permanent stuff. Now that we have, let's see, we're gonna need some more plastic, so that idle guy can also go collect plastic. We're gonna need to start drying some wood, because we need wood for a lot of the recipes. So to do that, you make drying racks. And obviously we can only make a small drying rack, because we don't have any rope or dry wood for a normal sized one. There we go. We'll put that right here. And so they can start doing that. The first objective we have in the game is obviously to get control of our food and water, because these guys drink a lot. They drink so much water, it pisses me off every time I start over. As we can see, they're putting wood on these, and anytime there's a passive production queue, like these are passively just drying, you can see them down here, the progress of them. But we're gonna need more of these, so we'll have 3 of them. And now we're getting some wood. Next up, what we're gonna need, the most pressing issue is to get oil to be able to move around better on the map. So if I scroll out, it's gonna zoom out into the current map. Oh, leaking water tower, that's nice. We can just go there and collect a bunch of water. But now we can literally just click anywhere to move the town, and then the bottom left you'll see how much fuel that's gonna take. And so we need water, food, and fuel. Basic stuff in the game. These objectives that you can go take, they all have different things in them. So if we look at the leaking water tower, we have 30 water. This little long island got 40 dry wood, 5 metal scrap, and 5 canned foods, which is nice. So we're probably gonna move our town like this as soon as we have what we want. I think that's good enough. Let's move the town. So yeah, this map is not infinite, right? So this is kind of like a level, so to speak. A level not in difficulty, but in well, a level. So as soon as we, let me pause it, as soon as we have at least 75% fuel in our thing, we can click move to new region, we get a loading screen and a brand new map to explore and collect things from. The different things you can find around the map is long islands which have, well, some wood, some food, some metal scrap, leaking water towers, or a boat, like a crashed wooden ship filled with water. Let's see if I can see one. Nope. Which also is just 30 water. You have abandoned motorboats, which is a lot of scrap. You have shack towns, which is wood and some scrap, I think. We got our seagulls, which is nice to collect, and I'll show you why. Obviously, we want them to fetch things like this, plastic and wood in the ocean for us, so we don't ever have to get those. We got viaducts with a bunch of cars on it, which is a lot of scrap. We got the factory over there, you can't really see the name of it, abandoned factory I believe it's called, which has oil, which is nice, so we don't have to make oil ourselves, and some metal scrap. Seaweed covered rocks. So seaweed is basically the main thing we're gonna eat in the beginning. We also get some seeds. I'll show you. We also get some seeds so we can grow more of them. And seaweed you're gonna use the whole game. You need it to make sushi and to use it as bait to passively fish from your raft, kind of thing. But yeah, so now that let's see, are they under here already? Where's my people? Right here. So when we collect these objectives, the guys will run there or swim there, collect 5 of materials, and then swim back. As soon as we have boats, they'll take boats, and our reach is gonna go from this little light water area and probably this far out, right? Which is not bad. Production queues are really easy and easy to follow. So obviously we want an oil refinery, and for an oil refinery I would probably, let's use some wood for this one, start working on my permanent area, because I know where I want to place it after all this time of playing. I know exactly how I want things. And as soon as we build oil refinery and click on it, it's going to say the recipe requires plastic. Okay, so we need plastic to run the oil refinery. We have our woodworking shed where we make firewood and rope, where obviously it only needs dry wood to run. Food-wise, we can make our seaweed grower, which is a little area where we make seaweed out of the spores. We can dry fish to make food. We can make a distiller, which uses firewood and seawater. You don't have to collect the seawater, it just sucks it up basically, to make fresh water. And yeah, the boats. You need a mooring point, and then you can have a salvage boat, which you use to rescue seagulls and people, or a fishing boat, which you use to collect fish from these sort of points. So you got this little area which contains 15 fish. Obviously that's not a lot, but as soon as we collect enough from one of these, see there's 1 water left. If someone gets that, I'll show you what happens. We get 5 research points because we cleared an objective. Here we go. Flint Frogbottom is gonna be our man for the job. There we go. We have now collected a full objective thingy, and we got 5 research points. So now we could make a scrapsmith, for example, or houses, because our people sleep. And as you can see, these guys are really tired, so they're probably gonna sleep when they come back from this one. For example, this one will fall asleep now. And if they have bed, or a house, they'll sleep a lot quicker. So they're not down on the ground inactive for so long. And obviously we want them to be active to construct things and work on production queues and things like that. When we set up production queues, no matter which building it is, we can always manually add things to the queue, or we can automatically make it forever. But obviously making it forever is not very nice, since one character will just be stuck there and just making it forever. But down here in the bottom, you can set production output queues. So oil, we want to make sure to have 5 oil in storage at all times, maybe. Wood, yeah, I don't mind. Just make 100 wood, dry wood, and so on. So yeah, you literally just go through this. You can make a birdhouse to get birds, start collecting resources. I recommend doing that as quick as possible in this current build. We can have solar stills, which passively collect and remove the salt from water. But yeah, so obviously you don't have that much space. You can see the build limit of the town. So I spend a lot of time in this game. A lot of my 28 hours or so. I've spent like optimizing and seeing how many drifters, aka villagers, can I get. Let me stop myself there. To save you guys from a really long rant of things and goals and stuff I've done playing this game over and over for the last few days, I'm just gonna do my conclusion like this. Basically, I would say that in all my testing, the only challenging part of the game is the start, where you gotta keep an eye on how much food and water you have, and you know, if you don't have a water tower like I had then, right next to you and stuff like that, it becomes a race to streamline those type of productions. But as soon as you've researched a few things, gotten a few more people, and especially built your army of seagulls, the game is a breeze. Your seagulls will basically fetch all the wood and plastic you could ever ask for. And I mean, you have to harvest a few water towers and get some seaweed maybe every 30 minutes, but other than that, you can spend like trying to build up your town and getting more and more drifters. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it might be a breeze after a while, but it's a very entertaining and, well, chill breeze. I've spent hours trying to figure out the best layouts and getting as many villagers as I can and optimizing production in my community, and it's been real fun actually. The price point of the game currently in its development state is 22 euros for me. I live in Sweden on Steam. And I think that's fine for, because if you're looking for a chill like city survival builder, and this one especially, which is set in a flooded world, you can pretend you're part of. You're part of the movie Waterworld. This game can easily provide, like 10, 15 hours of fun the way it is right now. And every time there's a major content patch, you can jump back in and like keep using the same town. Most of the patches you can do that, and use the new features or just start over. I would say this is worth every penny. I hope you enjoyed this review and this format that I'm doing, and it's quite a bit of effort making them. So if you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next review. Thanks.